Hi everyone, and today we're going to take a look at Unit 1.9a, and we're going to split this one up into two parts. Today we're going to focus on adding and subtracting like fractions, and we're going to do basic fractions. We're going to hold off on mixed numbers until the next lesson. All right, go ahead and put today's date up there at the top, please. And let's look at our two objectives. So our objectives for today are exactly what the title says. So we're going to add like fractions. We're going to subtract like fractions. Okay. So what we're going to look at here, we're going to do adding first, and then we'll come back and do subtraction. And you actually have done this back in third, fourth, fifth grade, whatever it was, somewhere in there. But we're adding the negative component. I've said in an earlier lesson that negatives are really important in seventh grade. It's really the foundation of everything else that you're going to learn from here on out. So it's really important that you know those negative rules very well. Okay, so if you have a little copy of the like a cheat sheet with your adding and subtracting negative rules on it, you may want to have that out with you just so you kind of are with me on everything and you know what's going on. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Um, I do have a video, but it's not for like fractions. It's only for unlike fractions. So I'm not going to show you that one just yet, okay? But we will watch a vocabulary on adding fractions, okay? And subtracting and all that stuff a little bit later. All right, let's take a look here. So we're going to find each sum and write in simplest form. So what we do for adding fractions and subtracting fractions is first figure out what operation you need to be doing, adding or subtracting, and then you only work the tops, okay? You keep the bottom exactly the same. You always need a common denominator, is what we call it, a common denominator when you're adding and subtracting fractions, all right? So let's take a look at the first one. So first, do we have a common denominator? Yes, we do. Now, what are we supposed to be doing? Are we supposed to be adding or subtracting? Well, there's no negatives, so it is what it is. Okay, so we're going to add across the top. So we're going to take 7 plus 6, which is 13, and that's going to go over 10. Okay, and then from here, we've already worked with changing improper into mixed. Okay, so 10 goes into 13 one time with 3 left over. And so the answer is 1 3/10. Okay, there's no canceling on this. Okay, you can reduce after you've worked it out, and that's the difference between multiplying and dividing versus adding and subtracting. On multiplying and dividing, you simplify first and then you work it out. This one, you have to work it out first and then you simplify. You cannot do any canceling while you're working it out. Okay. If you do, you will make more work for yourself. Like I could technically take 6/10 down by 2 and change it into 3/5. But if I do that, then I'm not going to have matching denominators, so I have to go right back to where I was. Okay, you got to have the common denominator. Okay, let's take a look at letter B. We have 5/8 plus -7/8. So do I have a common denominator? Yes. All right, I'm good to go. Now I need to figure out, am I supposed to be adding or am I supposed to be subtracting? Well, this is where those negative rules come in. We have 5/8, which is positive. We have -7/8, which is negative. Okay? When we have different signs, remember the rule is same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. Okay, so we need to actually subtract them this time. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to kind of work backwards. Okay, if that bothers you, then just move it around. Okay, actually, let's go ahead and do that here on the first one. So let's just rewrite the whole thing. So let's do -7/8 plus 5/8. I think that'll help. All right, so now we need to subtract them. So we need to do 7 minus 5, which would be 2. Remember, we keep the sign of the larger number, which is negative in this case, and then we have 8 on bottom. Now we're ready to simplify or reduce, however you want to say it. So 2/8 will reduce by 2. So when we do that, that's going to go down to -1/4. Okay, let me write that I divided by 2 here, just in case you forget. Okay, so -1/4. All right, if you think you've got it on the first two, go ahead and pause and try A through D down below. If you're still not quite sure, let me do two more real quick. Do A and B, and then try C and D on your own. All right, but please, please, please make sure you're trying these on your own. Don't just keep copying. All right, so here we go. Let's look at 1A. So we have 5, 6 plus 4, 6. 5 plus 4 would be 9. And then over 6. Okay, now I like to reduce before I change into mix, so let's go ahead and do that. So that reduces by 3, and that's going to give me 3 halves, which is 1 1/2. Okay, now let's take a look at letter B. We have 4 sevenths plus negative 6 sevenths. Again, we have different signs, so I actually need to subtract them. So let's rewrite this just to get started here. So negative 6 sevenths plus, oops, 6 sevenths and 4 sevenths. Okay, different signs, subtract. So 6 minus 4, which would be 2. Keep the sign of the larger number, that's negative 2. And then over 7, and everything's prime, so we're good. All right, so if you haven't tried C and D on your own, go ahead and pause and try those and come back to me. Otherwise, we'll keep moving on. All right, so let's finish up here with C and D. So we have 1/5 and 4/5. So we have 1 plus 4, which is 5. And that's 5 there. And 5/5 is 1. Whoops. Should be equals. Sorry, the pen drags every now and then. Okay, so that equals 1. So that one's easy. All right, let's take a look at 1D. So we have negative 5/8 plus 11/8. So I have different signs. I need to subtract. So I actually need to rewrite this. So let's do that. So let's do 11/8 plus, and then we'll have negative 5/8. Oops. Negative 5/8. Okay, so different signs subtract. So it's 11 minus 5, which is going to be 6, and then 8. Okay, that reduces by 2. So whenever I reduce by 2, that's going to give me 3/4. All right, so on these shorter lessons, you're going to get some questions called Need Another Example. These are not found in your textbook at all. These are only in my book, so I just have to copy and paste them. And so if you do try to look this back up in the book, you're not going to find the Need Another Examples. I'll just give you a heads up. All right, so if you haven't tried the other ones on your own, then please, 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 please try these for sure on your own. Okay, and if you already try these on the other ones on your own, go ahead and pause and try these on your own again. All right, so go ahead and pause it and catch up to me when you're ready. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. So we have 3/4 plus 3/4. So we have 3 plus 3, which would be 6. And that is fourths. Okay, so again, I like to reduce first. You can always mix it first, but I like to just reduce first. It's just my personal preference. We're going to divide it by 2. And that's going to be 3 halves, which is 1 1/2. So that one's easy. Okay, letter B is 5/9 plus negative 7/9. So again, we need to watch our signs there. It's negative, so we actually need to subtract it because they're different signs. So we actually need to flip the whole thing around. So it's going to be negative 7/9 plus 5/9. So then we have 7 minus 5, which is going to give us negative 2. And then we have 9 on bottom. And everything's good there. Okay? All right, let's try example 3. So now we're going to switch gears and start working on the subtraction part of it, which, as you notice, adding and subtracting go hand in hand. So even though the first objective is to add, there was subtraction that we had to do in the addition problems, right? Same thing on this one. We're going to have subtraction, but it's actually going to be addition because it's usually the opposite. Okay, so remember, keep, change, change. All right? Keep, change for subtraction. Can't stress that enough. Don't forget that. Keep, change. So let's do that first. So let's do 3/10 That's our keep. We're going to change it to addition. Now we need to change the sign so it's negative 9/10. Okay, now that's written incorrectly, so let's switch it around so we can actually work with it. So it's going to be negative 9/10 plus 3/10. Okay, so it's different sign subtract. 9 minus 3, which is going to give us 6. It's going to be negative, and then that's going to be over 10. Now, can you work it out where it's 3/10 plus negative 9/10? Yes, you can do it that way if it doesn't bother you to work from right to left. For some people, that really, really bothers them. It doesn't matter to me because I've just done it for so long. I just know how to do it. But if that bothers you, go ahead and switch it like I've been showing you. It takes an extra 5 seconds to write out. It's really not that big of a deal. Okay, let's go back and finish this one up. So we have negative 6/10. We need to reduce. So that will reduce by 2. And that's going to be negative 3 over 5. So negative 3/5 for that one. All right, let's go ahead and turn the page. All right, go ahead and try 3A, B, and C on your own. If nothing else, just try 3A with me one more time, and then try B and C on your own. All right, if you want to go ahead and do the whole need another example, you can go ahead and do all that straight through. All right, so for this one, we have 5 minus 10. We need to keep change, so it's going to be 5/15 plus, and then negative 10/15. Again, that's backwards, so let's switch it. So it's actually going to be negative 10/15 plus 5/15. Okay, same signs add and keep. We have different signs, so we need to subtract it. So it's going to be 10 minus 5, which is 5. Keep the sign the larger number, which is going to be, negative 5. And then we have 15 on the bottom. Okay, now we need to simplify it. So how can I reduce? I can reduce it by 5. And when I reduce it by 5, that's going to give us negative 1 over 3. Negative 1/3. My equal sign in there. All right. So if you didn't try 3A by yourself, please pause and do 3B and C by yourself and catch up to me. And if you are done, then we'll keep on moving through. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. It says 3/9 minus 4/9. So first we got to keep change. So it's going to be 3/9 plus negative 4/9. Can't do that, so let's flip it. Okay, I'm just going to keep working my way down because I'm going to run into that other one if I don't. All right, so we have different signs, subtract, so 4 minus 3, which is negative 1, and then over 9. So that one actually worked out pretty well. Okay, let's look at 3C. We have 7/8 minus 3/8. That one we can actually do. We don't have to do anything to it. We can do 7 minus 3. So 7 minus 3 would be 4/8, which is 1/2. All right, don't miss the easy ones. All right, don't miss the easy ones. Only keep change whenever you have a smaller first number, okay, or there's definitely negatives involved. That's the only time you need to be keep changing and switching things around. Okay. All right. Next, let's look at the need another example. So we have 11/12 minus 5/12. Again, I can actually do 11 minus 5. I don't need to keep change. So 11 minus 5 is going to give me 6 and then over 12, and that is 1/2. Don't miss the easy ones, all right? Don't miss the easy ones. Now we're going to switch gears. This was not actually part of the objective, was to do algebraic expressions, but they're always kind of in here no matter what we're working on. So I think eventually they just quit putting it in there because it's always an objective. So for this one, we have to evaluate x minus y when x is 3/5 and y is negative 4/5. Okay, so let's actually just write the whole thing before we do anything. So let's do 3/5 minus, and then we have a negative 4/5. Now I use the parentheses so it doesn't look so weird. Okay, we have subtraction. What rule do we always have to use, or at least look to see if we need to use it during subtraction? Keep, change, change. All right, and I do need to use it because we have a negative in there. So we have 3/5 plus, and then it's going to become positive 4/5. So that actually helped out wonderfully because now we can just add. So we have 3 plus 4, which is 7, and then fifths, so 7/5. 5 goes into 7 one time with 2 left over. So I get 1 2/5. All right, go ahead and try the got it questions. If you're not quite sure, then stick with me through A and try B and C on your own. Okay, so let's take a look. So we have 3/8 minus, and then we'll have negative 5/8. Again, we need to keep, change, change on this one. So we're going to do 3 plus 5. Oh, sorry. Okay, so we're going to do 3 plus 5, which will be 8 eighths, which is 1. Okay, so that one was actually really, really easy. All right, now let's move on to 4b. So we have negative 5/8 minus, and then 7/8. Okay, so do I need to keep, change, change? Yes, because there's a negative involved. So let's keep, change, change. I'm going to work my way. Let me circle this one, and I'll work my way down this way. Okay, so it'll be negative 5/8 plus, and then it's going to become negative 7/8. All right, so this time we have same signs. We've been ending up with different signs a lot. Now we have same signs, so same signs, add and keep. So we're going to do negative 5 plus negative 7, which is negative 12/8. Okay, again, I like to reduce first before we unmix it, or we mix it. So we will reduce by 4. So negative 12 divided by 4, that will give us negative 3 over 2, and that makes it 1 1/2. All right. Some people ask, why do you like to reduce before you change into a mixed number? Because the math gets easier. Like if I would have did 8 and or if I would have did 12/8, I would have said, well, 8 goes into 12 one time, and I have 4 left over, so I have 1 4/8. So then I still have to change 1 4/8 into 1 1/2. So it just makes the math a little bit easier, and you're going to have to do it in 2 steps anyway. So I just go ahead and do it that way, honestly. All right, let's take a look at 4c. So we have 7/8 minus, and then we have a, which is 3/8. Oh, how nice. Okay, so I can actually do 7 minus 3, right? Okay, I don't need to use keep, change, change. I can just do 7 minus 3, which is 4, and then over 8, which is going to be half. Don't miss the easy ones, all right? All right, I think that's it, as far as I know. Yeah, that's going to be it. Okay. Trying to figure out how we split this up, but that should be the last one. Oops. All right. So we'll go ahead and stop here then, and I will catch you guys later. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.